Got Cubs baseball tonight at 7, rubber game of their series with the Rockies. White Sox World Series hero John Garland pitches for Colorado. Cubs counter with the Shark, Jeff Samardzija. Joining us with the latest on the north side, CSNChicago.com's Patrick Mooney. Okay, we were talking off the air a moment ago. Please explain to our vast audience, Carlos Marmol, reportedly, it's on Twitter, he wants out of the Cub organization. He has denied that. Can you please tell everyone the story you told us?
All right, Cap, this is another one of those kind of perfect internet storms, but basically Marmol meets with his agent, Paul Kinzer, who makes lots of trips to Chicago. He's represented Aramis Ramirez, Starlin Castro, tons of guys in town. They meet in the lobby of Marmol's apartment building. Someone takes photos of it, listens in, says he wants out. Popular Cubs blog picks it up. The beat writers show up today, ask Marmol about it. He denies all that, and he said, you know, for many years that he loves Chicago. He denied all that. He had no idea people were listening in on him. He was kind of blindsided, but you know, the thing about Marmol is he always is at his locker. He'll answer any question you want, and he has a pretty good sense of humor about it. He was even posing for pictures here in the dugout before the game, so you know, I don't think the Cubs can get rid of him right now. He doesn't have much of a trade value, and he doesn't want to leave anyway, so it's a perfect internet storm for you, Cap.
Let me ask you, it's Jerry Riles here. Maybe I'm the only one here in Chicago that was kind of surprised or a little bit stunned, but locking up Rizzo with this deal when he's really hasn't proven himself over a long haul, were you surprised, and do you think it was a good move or bad move for the Cubs to lock him in?
I guess I was surprised by the timing. I thought this would have happened after this season, maybe November. Maybe this will be one of those things next January at Cubs convention where they have their big splash announcement. But when you look at this front office, they've known him since he was like 17 years old, a high school kid in the Fort Lauderdale area. You know, they were with him when he was going through his Hodgkin's lymphoma, his fight with cancer. So really they're comfortable with the player. They know this is a guy that he wants to build around. And they look at his power numbers. That's something where you get paid in arbitration. And really they found common ground kind of in these last 10 days or so. And this is clearly a guy, along with Starlin Castro, that they want to build around.
Hey, Pat, it's Chris DeLuca. You know, getting back to Marmol, he is a stand-up guy, you're right. He gets along with everybody. He's a good fit in that clubhouse. But there's no way that he's in their long-term plans. Why wouldn't he want to leave? Why would he want to stay in Chicago?
Well, Chris, I think we go through this almost every year, it seems, whether it's guys like Derek Lee or Ryan Dempster who really hold on tight to their no-trade clause, and then finally at the last minute they might reconsider. Aramis Ramirez, he didn't want to leave. You know, Kerry Wood, he came back after leaving. I mean, guys like it here. They're comfortable here. They like playing here. And at this point, I'm not really sure what the Cubs can get, but I do think Marmol could probably benefit, you know, from a change of scenery. Maybe if he gets a chance to showcase himself in August, if he gets hot. But, you know, people forget how much he gave to this franchise. He was part of 2 division-winning teams. He really gave his right arm for that. But at this point, all people see are the dollar signs, the money he's making now, and the blown saves.
Hey, it's Eric Ferguson. I have a question. You're talking about the signing of the cornerstone guys. They got Rizzo in the long-term deal. They picture Castro being that guy. You talk about Marmol. I want to look elsewhere on the pitching staff. You hear the rumors that they want to re-sign Samardzija. Does he strike you as the kind of guy that's an ace of a staff or a #1 guy? He feels like more like a second or third pitcher to me.
Well, I mean, second and third pitchers get paid pretty well, and these aren't so much rumors as this was something that, you know, we had reported, I think last November. I mean, the Cubs had put that on their offseason agenda of at least looking into the possibility of extending Samardzija. There was maybe preliminary talks, but really Samardzija is someone who obviously made millions coming out of Notre Dame, turning down the NFL. He's just one in a different place financially than Rizzo was. And also, if you're around Samardzija for any time at all, you know how confident he is. And he believes that he's the #1 starter, that he can pitch opening day for years to come, you know, be relied upon for 200 innings a year. And with the price of pitching, he wants to get paid like a guy like that. You know, he says, you know, I want my play on the field to dictate, you know, what I get paid. And he just wants more of a body of work to bring to Theo and Jed and get his next contract.
Hey, Patrick, before we let you go, what's the next shoe to drop in the Cub world? Out of nowhere, here comes the Rizzo thing. We know the Samardzija thing might happen. Do you think it's a trade? Do you think there's another player that's going to get extended? Could they extend Garza? What's the next move that happens?
Well, I think the thing that they need to find out pretty quickly about is Matt Garza. He has another rehab start scheduled for tomorrow at AAA Iowa. He says, if I feel good off that, I'm going to push to try and, come back 5 days after that. I think Dale Basio, the front office, is probably going to take it a little more conservatively. But I do think that he's a guy, I know his name has been in trade rumors, it seems like forever, but he's a guy that he's a power pitcher. They really like the energy that he brings. He likes it here. He sees what they're doing in terms of building around those guys. And, they're not in a position where they can just turn their back on pitching. So I do think that and the possibility of a qualifying offer, if he's healthy, I do think he could be a part of that kind of next contending team here.
All right, Patrick, go read your game story tonight at CSNChicago.com. Enjoy the game. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Patrick Mooney, CSNChicago.com. Carlos Zambrano has found gainful employment. He's in the minor leagues with the Philadelphia Phillies. Shocking to you?
It's shocking to me that it's taken this long. I mean, you look at a guy, he's 31 years old. He got off to a pretty good start last year. I think people forgot that, yeah, he was pitching for the Marlins. Everything went south there, but for the first 2 months, he had an ERA under 3. And again, he's young. Now, he's a different pitcher than he used to be. The velocity's not there, and he's had to learn how to deal with that. And I think he's made some adjustments. I think he just needs to work with a pitching coach. I think he gets a bad rap because of his explosions and the emotions that we saw in Chicago, but we didn't really see that last year in Miami. I'm really surprised that he didn't get this kind of a deal.
Okay, but you're a sports editor. If you had a really talented writer, and you knew he was going to come into the office and just be a complete lunatic at times on the editors, would you take a chance on him?
I think you would have to sit down and talk to him. I mean, the Cubs got Milton Bradley. There's a market for these guys if there's talent. There's clearly some talent left in Zambrano. He's not injured. I'm surprised that he was pretty close to, he had a contract in front of him to pitch for the Long Island Ducks, which, if he was 37, I could see that. 31, there's a lot of upside there, and it's really no risk for the Phillies. By July 1st, if he's not on the roster, he can walk away. They can walk away. It's a pretty good deal for them.
I agree. I'm surprised it took this long for somebody to take a flyer on him.
It's his personality. He's a lunatic.
But you know what? I would picture him or characterize him as an environment guy. He's got to be in the right environment, and South Florida was an awful place for him to pitch. The expectations of that team, the situation, all the dynamics that went on. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Look what happened to Ozzie there. Look what happened to that entire team.
Ozzie was
a disaster waiting to happen. If you can find, like Chris was saying, the right pitching coach, the right calming environment, I think you can get a lot out of the guy. In Chicago, that was just a lot of years with a lot of turbulence and turmoil and changeover that I think began to wear on him. He needs some stability and a nice environment, and I think you might see him blossom.
Basically, you're saying he needs to mature. And it seems like that's where he's on his way to.
It's amazing how being humbled can mature you.
Sure, and a lot of guys need that. Now, when you talk about character guys, I mean, there are a lot of guys in the pro ranks who are goofs, but if they have a unique talent, guys take chances on them. I mean, and so Zambrano, it looks as if he's got his second win, so to speak, and he's like, okay, this is my final chance to get an opportunity to show what I can do.
He's been productive for a long time.
He did have a good start to the season. He had some injuries a couple years ago that I think he tried to pitch through. I think he's tried to hang on and pitch through some things that he probably shouldn't have. He really hasn't had somebody, maybe going back to Larry Rothschild, who had his hands full, and you could knock Larry for a lot of things, but he did kind of keep his head on straight. And when that relationship broke up, there wasn't a pitching coach that could really work with him.
Nobody he respected.
No, and I think there was a respect there with Larry. Larry always defended him, and even through the ups and downs, the Michael Barrett situation, stuff like that, Larry was there to kind of be that calming guy. He really was good at running interference for him. And probably the worst thing that anybody tried to do was tell Carlos Zambrano how to act. And I think that when they wanted him to not be crazy Carlos, that messed with everything, and there was a delicate balance there with him.
All right, up next, we've got the poll results. Get the latest on the Black